Cycleways must follow desire lines from origins to destinations. The correctness of this principle, which is universally acknowledged by cyclists, is illustrated by the cycleways planned by highway engineers between the Elephant and Castle roundabout and the bridges to the City of London. Data on the use intensity of cycle routes is collected by the Strava app and used to make the global heat map. It shows that between the roundabout and the city, the route which attracts the most cyclists is the one without any cycle infrastructure, to London Bridge via Newington Causeway and Borough High Street. And the route with the fewest cyclists is the one with the best cycle infrastructure. It runs along St George's Road and was the first section of TfL's segregated superhighways to open in 2015. The other TfL planned route on the map, CS6, has a similar level of unpopularity. It has far too many junctions, which make it slow and hazardous. Robert Holden and I reviewed the St George's Road section of CS6 in 2015 because it was the first section of segregated superhighway to open. Here's what we said.
The key question to ask is, will it be safe for a 6-year-old school child or a mother with babies on the back of a bicycle to be able to cycle in central London as a result of these improvements?
That is a very important question, but I would put, even before that, the question of whether it achieves its function of providing the shortest route from A to B. Remember, we were invited by TfL as representatives of the Landscape Institute to comment on the central London cycling grid, and the very first thing we said was a good cycle route must provide the shortest possible route from A to B. So this morning we've looked at the first section which has been opened, which runs from Elephant and Castle to Blackfriars Road. Is that the shortest route?
No, to go left towards Westminster along St George's Road and then back is not the shortest route.
So instead of doing the dogleg along St George's Road and Lambeth Road, they should have cited the route on London Road.
Along London Road, straight from the Elephant to St George's Circus.
In the consultation report, several people suggested that, and TfL's response, rather strangely, was that going along the dogleg would take only an extra 2 seconds when travelling south and an extra 15 seconds when travelling north. How can there possibly be that difference?
I'd question the figure. Yes, possibly for a young cyclist travelling at 15 to 20 miles an hour. Not for a 6-year-old, not for a 8-year-old on a Boris bike like myself. Sorry, Santander bike.
Also, on the physical design question, do you think it would have been possible to accommodate the cycle superhighway on London Road?
Yes, and here we could talk and investigate areas where that is possible. There are very wide pavements along all of London Road, particularly opposite the Elephant tube station. There is wasted space there on the west side, and further south it's on the other side of the road, on the east side.
I agree, and the other thing that struck me is, why should it be the cyclists that have the longer route? Wouldn't it have been better to make vehicles do the dogleg and give cyclists the shortest A to B route?
This is leading on to the fact that we should be talking about total street design, and priorities should be for pedestrians, for cyclists, for disabled access wheelchair users, and then for vehicle traffic.
So were we right? Yes. Watch what the cyclists do. Instead of turning west into the superhighway on St George's Road, most of them come onto the roundabout which they were supposed to leave. They don't enjoy mingling with the traffic, but they want to get to the city, and the roads are faster than the TfL cycleways. St George's Road has therefore become the white elephant of the Elephant and Castle. Cycleways should always be planned as part of a network, and the planners should use a modified version of the four-step model they use for road and rail networks, centering on the analysis of origins and destinations. The incorrect principle used for most UK cycle planning has been to get cyclists out of the way of motorists. This is how London Cycle Network Route 2 was planned. Most of it's now called Quiet Way 1, but only 20% of it is segregated from cars. So it's not safe for kids, and it's not quick enough for most commuters. Colville Anderson did a great drawing to show how traffic engineers approach cycle planning. The incorrect principle which they use of indirect routing is shown on the post-1950 diagrams. To give cities the faster, cheaper, quieter and more sustainable mass transit systems they deserve, we need to get motorists out of the way of cyclists. Jane Jacob described this in 1961 as the attrition of automobiles by cities. It's a great idea, and it supports the first principle of cycleway planning. Cyclists, not drivers, need the shortest available A to B routes.